I mean, I don't have any experience with this kind of thing, but it sounds like the right decision. I hope that he was talking about the bus crash as well as his wife. Why is this hopes? You shouldn't start that sentence with hope. But that's okay. I forgive you, Saki. You're an innocent person. You obviously are not clarity is not your strong point, although insight is, and that is a weird combo. Finding the truth about that crash is obviously really important to him, but I hope someday he can figure out how to walk away from that obsession. I think she meant in that sentence that it has something to do with his obsession for the crash, not that his wife's death and the crash had anything actually linked, besides that Shirabe was a part of both of them in some way. Yes, I think that makes sense. I think that does. In my head it does. Maybe. Shirabe seemed to have decided the conversation was over and turned back to the notes. We didn't get the one in the hospital, but Shido gave me all the others. 4 scraps of paper on the table. Let's see. I figure the last 2 are probably the same as they always have been. There it is! We have seen this picture before! The 07 with the slash, 07, Sun, and KI. Or K1, excuse me. It looks like it could be KI. Sun, 7, KI, and 7 with a slash. We know the 7s are a date. At least they resemble a date. Sun, probably talking about the sun. No, it's Sunday! Shirabe, you fool! The rest, though, I can't make heads or tails of them. I'm surprised that he can't make heads or tails of all these other parts that are kind of obvious. Or at least he can't take a guess at them. But he is confident. Sun means the sun. And there's no other solution to that. What kind of detective are you? Or journalist? I've been reordering them to see if that jogs anything, but no luck. Mind if I give it a shot? Please be my guest. At this point, I'm tapped out. Anyways, thanks. I stared at the notes and thought hard about what they could mean. I feel an insight coming on, so I'm gonna hit this. Let's start with sun. Could mean sun, but can we be sure? Wait. Something felt off. What's wrong? Oh, I think... There we go. Explosive insight. Why are we so sure that it's talking about the sun anyway? We found this note on the first day after we beat Samurai Fantasy VII. The announcement told us we beat the game, and the floorboard opened up to show a treasure chest. This is all just details. Mitarashi said something about the sun. We didn't have time to talk about it though because Mitarashi was hurt. The other notes are just meaningless letters and numbers and stuff. If they mean something beyond that, I don't know what it is. Wow, that is weak. This is so weak. So the answer is something beyond that. And it's the only one that isn't just a straight up thing, but man, these have always been a lot more leading than this. So we go into this insight, and the point is that we're looking for something beyond what the obvious is. That's the point of these insight things. So the answer being something beyond that, like literally, that's weak. That's weak. Sweet Fuse, you're better than this, man. Weak insight foo. I think that sun isn't talking about the sun. I love this music so much. What do you mean? Well, Mitarashi mentioned the sun, and I think that just got stuck in all of our heads. Mitarashi, huh? That should have been our first warning sign. Booyah! Let's make fun of Mitarashi while we're making this. So if it's not the sun, then what could... Wait! Did you think of something? None of us ever thought of the question what Mitarashi assumed, but what if sun is an abbreviation for Sunday? Ah! If that's the case, then we can switch them around like this. Mumbled to himself, shuffled the notes around. 7, Sun, K1. Of course! It all makes sense. I think you might need to elaborate. In this order, they're clearly referring to the bus crash. What? The accident happened on July 7th, the 7th day of the 7th month, and if I remember correctly, it was a Sunday. So what about K1? That. He tapped his head and frowned for a few moments. That, little lady, is the route number for the bus, Kanado K1. Oh my gosh! Damn, I can't believe it took me this long to figure it out. I got thrown by Sun, and that put me way off track. Amateur mistake. Shirabe, you had one job. This has been your one job this whole time. These men are just letting me down at every turn. And I have to save their stupid asses. But there is no doubt now that every one of us is connected to the crash. Somehow, I'm sure Hogstein picked us for a reason. What about Wakasan Meishi then? Maybe they're lying, or maybe they honestly don't know. They're connected in either case. We just need to dig a little deeper. But if all that's true, then who the hell is this person calling Count Hogstein? And what on earth did he bring us all here for? These are the questions that are making me continue playing! Shirabe frowned and closed his eyes deep in thought. And then my phone farted. Oh, it's from Uncle KG. Quietly, so as not to disturb Shirabe, I flipped open my phone. I'm glad you've got a good friend you can rely on. But you can't go to him for everything. Only ask for his help when you really need it, and make sure he's able to rely on you too. Watching out for each other is what friends do, right? Good luck, I'm rooting for you. Right, of course, I can't depend on him all the time. I want to help out if I can. The door burst open and Maya rushed in. Oh my gosh, you guys! Did something happen? He woke up, he's awake. Oh, is that so? Thanks for telling us, Mai. You're welcome. Alright, guess we should head over there. Shirabe tried to stand up, but the moment he put his weight on his leg, I saw him grimace and lean over to prop his body up with the bed. There you go, you can lean on me. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be right there. Thanks. Need someone to carry on. I bent down, he wrapped an arm around my shoulder. It wasn't exactly graceful, but at least he was able to walk. Ready? Yeah. I nodded and we set off toward Urabe's room with Mai leading the way. Yay, we get to see Urabe! He's been out of commission for the longest time. When we arrived, Urabe was sitting up in bed with a depressed look on his face. Are you hurt? No, I'm quite alright. I feel as though I've slept for days. That's not too far from the truth. You were unconscious when they got you yesterday around noon. So long. I'm glad you're awake now, though. Thank you. I must ask, where are the others? They went off to play today's game. I got this bum leg, and the lady here had a fever, so we stuck around to hold down the fort. Urabe's eyes widened. Will you be alright? Yeah, don't worry about it. This isn't anything I can't handle. My fever's almost completely gone, too. Oh, thank goodness. How goes the game, then? So far, we've beaten everything he's thrown at us. But I have to ask, can you tell us everything you know? Yes, of course, I owe you that and more. Urabe bowed his head. Do you know about the bus accident in Kaneto City 12 years ago? Urabe's face stiffened. Well? Yes, I do. Spill it, Kimaru. Hit me, baby. As we spoke, I saw a tear run down his cheek. What? Saki, that's not a reasonable response. Why is your face leaking, man? That's weird. Who does that? Why is he crying? Men don't face leak from their eyeballs. It was no accident. It was my father's hand at work. What? Oh, Shirabe's gonna be pissed. He's gonna be mad. In fact, it was that very event that eventually drove me to assist Count Hogstein in this endeavor. I wasn't sure what sort of answer I'd expected, but it certainly hadn't been that. Keep going. I know there's more. What you know might be the key to finally ending this ridiculous game. Urabe nodded, took a moment to compose himself, and began to speak. Could you, just show him, hey, we got these clues that lead us to the exact bus crash, and we're all a part of it. Don't just, throw this on and be like, hey, this bus crash is your fault? Yeah, what happened with that, dude? My father is the president of a major construction firm. It's a major firm because we have no compunctions about taking whatever measures are necessary. Unfortunately for him, however, all wrongdoing eventually comes to light, and in time a reporter caught wind of the truth. That must have been Mitarashi's father! My father needed this reporter's silence, and so he conspired to kill him and make his death appear to be an accident. Urabe knows way too much about this. How is Urabe the loose end? Bad fathering. No! I overheard him giving the order, and then a few days later, the journalist was dead, along with so many others, whose only crime had been choosing to ride the bus. This is a very stoic way of putting it. He shivered, and I saw that he was crying now. Oh. Your old man orchestrated that crash? Yes. So how did you end up working with the pig? After I understood what my father had done, I began to loathe myself, and everything in my life had been bought with my father's bloody torture. Privilege checked. In a major way. But I was in no position to leave, so even though it made me ill, I remained. It began to take a toll on my sanity. Explains the beads. Why do you have one that's red? Why not all green? Or why not, like, a pattern? That was when I met a man via the internet who referred to himself as M2. M2? Shirabe frowned. From what I remembered, it had been someone called M2 who'd convinced him to come to the park. M2 understood me better than anyone, and when he suggested I take up fortune-telling, I threw myself into it. That is some puppet master stuff right there. In time, M2 became my best and only friend. Then one day he asked for my help. Help with what? My father's company was heavily invested in a theme park. He intended to blow it up. Oh, there's a conspiracy happening and Urabe's in on it. I was blind with adoration for M2 and hate for my father. Of course, I agreed, unconditionally. The park, of course, was this one. My father's among the hostages. Now you know all what I do. Shirabe dropped his head into his hands. I never thought, damn, you're really his son. But now I know the truth. I was right. It was never an accident. This explains why he was so apt to turning himself into the police at the end of Shido's thing. It seemed kind of out of place that he would just do it. But it makes more sense now. There's a lot more to his sins that have come out. Your father killed my friend to shut him up. Shirabe's hands tightened into white-knuckled fists. Finally, after 12 years, I am truly sorry. Shirabe lowered his own head and tears dropped into his lap. It's not your fault. You don't need to apologize. Yes, I do. He is my father, and his money raised me. How am I not responsible? And have I betrayed? And I have betrayed all of you. I should have died when the hospital exploded. You idiot! Whack thump. Shirabe reached out and batted the side of Urabe's head. Hey, my hair. He froze and stared wide-eyed at the older man. Cute boys are hitting each other again. Don't talk about dying like that. Your father was clearly a bastard of the highest order, but you're not him. Whatever he did has nothing to do with you. Yeah, and you saved us, remember? But Listen to me, Urabe. You mean a lot to us, all of us. I do? Yeah, you made the right choice back at the hospital. That's all that matters. He leaned forward and wrapped his arms around Urabe. Oh, crying cute boys. Looked like something in him had finally broke and he started to sob openly. His sins have been redeemed. Oh, Shirabe. You're a good guy, Shirabe. Now I'm gonna cry now too. Oh, Urabe. I don't know how you lived with that for so long. We take his burdens and we lift them off of him. We will carry them with him. He must have felt lonely even when he was with us. It's called friendship. Power of friendship, baby. After all, he couldn't tell any of us who he really was or why he was here. But Shirabe had been able to accept him for who he was. Maybe now Urabe's life would be a little less horrible. A little less horrible. I am so sorry. After a few more minutes of crying and hugging and loving and laughing, Urabe finally pulled himself up and wiped his eyes. He still looked pale and shaken, but it seemed like a huge weight had been lifted off his shoulders. Now, I want you to hear another apology out of you. Now, I don't want to hear another apology out of you. Got that? I'm looking forward to working together as a team again. Yes, of course. He nodded vigorously. Good, that's the attitude I'm looking for. Shirabe rubbed a hand across his chin. Now Urabe is M2 Hogstein? Fuck yeah.